everyone. I'm incredibly excited to have Nick Menon from Pacvue on with us today. Now, we're doing a little bit of a different format today because we're actually going to be diving into Amazon Marketing Cloud. So, AMC, in my opinion, is one of the most exciting opportunities for brands in the future. And I'm super pumped to have Nick on to actually talk about everything that Pacvue's built and just the future of the industry. Nick, you want to give us a really quick intro on yourself?
Yeah, sure. Glad to be on. Thank you so much, Destiny, for having me on. My name is Nikhil. I go by Nick. I'm currently a technical product manager here at Pacview. A little bit of my background is I worked several years in software engineering and product. And so, yeah, it spanned several industries, electronics, manufacturing. And in my last role, I was working in the AI team at T-Mobile. I was working on their commerce solutions. And so I am a little bit more familiar with the commerce side, not too much on advertising, but that's been a very great learning experience since joining Pacview. And so I'm mostly focused on our DSP AMC product, and I'm really excited to go talk to you about it today.
Well, I think there's a million different things we can start with in this regards, but I think let's hit it off really easy. What is AMC and what do you think the value to the industry is with AMC?
Sure. And I think that a lot of people talk about AIMS, they're hyped about it, but it's very hard to understand what you can really do with it, right? And so the way that you can kind of think about it, at least from my perspective, that made me realize the value is currently, we have Amazon advertising solutions, we have, the sponsored ads route, we have DSP. And the DSP, you're kind of more concerned about the upper funnel. With sponsored ads, you're trying to go more for the lower funnel, trying to get that conversion, right? And so these two kind of parts of the funnel have never really connected before. There was these different solutions. There's no real way to kind of measure the entire customer journey. And this is what AMC makes it possible. I think that that's one of the biggest keys to unlocking AMC is because you get that full customer journey. You no longer have to go use the industry dated last touch attribution, right? And so touch attribution, for those who don't know, it's giving a lot all the way to the last click. And, that's it. But we know that customers are more complex in their journeys to getting a conversion. Are they going looking at the product detail page? Are they seeing other ads? They're going, clicking the product detail page, they add to cart, but they go, I don't want to do this. You never know really what it is, but now this is the first time that we can actually get this exciting information. And, as everyone knows, Amazon's number one e-commerce and shopping market place in the world. Millions of customers go through there every day, and getting that access is absolutely key if you're a brand or agency trying to get to the next level.
100%. And to break it down, I think even a further step here, AMC is really taking all of the data, even on the retail side. It is a clean room where you're holding all of your retail organic data. You're having the search side, the DSP side. So, a few of the queries that I found just really actionable for our brands is small things like the media mix overlap or path to purchase. I know for, one specific high price product we have, we were able to see that on average, the highest converting path to purchase took 17 views of a sponsored product ad. 17 views. Wait, when people think of Amazon advertising, I think they're so used to that instantaneous click and purchase and they get caught up in that. But in reality, like you said, the path to purchase is so much more complex. And I know, being in the space for 7 years when AMS used to be, primarily vendor central advertising and then seller central advertising, and they obviously combined it all. A question I always got was attribution is wrong. It wasn't a question, it was a statement. Amazon attribution cannot be trusted and all of these things. And I think that's what AMC is here to solve. It is truly a place to access all of that data. If you want last touch, make it happen. If you want linear attribution, if you want, first touch, all of that is possible. So that way we can then, build the models and the audience and the targeting that is best for our specific brand, which I think is insanely powerful. But the problem with that, AMC is not very accessible. The shiny object, everyone's talking about it. I think you and I had the conversation prior that it's one of the biggest keys to success on Amazon in the future. But let's talk a little bit about how brands are struggling to, really adopt AMC internally and how they need to do a better job with that.
Sure. So a lot of brands do not have engineering or technical resources on their staff, and they're mostly focused on the advertising side. But AMC, being a clean room solution, is a whole bunch of aggregated data. And someone needs to go sort through them to make sure that you can make some sort of sense from this data, and I think that's when you kind of reach out to your partners and try and see if there's a way that you can kind of easily create some audiences, right? And I think that's kind of what, at least in the Pacview mind when they were first creating this product, is accessibility for everyone. We don't want to make sure that, you have the greatest tool so far in our industry and you don't know how to use it, right? And so one way that we kind of at least try to help solve that problem is by creating our templates. So, we would find out that there were very common queries that most brands and agencies really need. Something like cart abandoners, where, they're adding to the cart, but they're not purchasing. You don't want to go and invest waste a lot of ad spend and giving more impressions to these. They've already seen your product. They've already shown intent to purchase. How do we target these? These are kind of like the audiences that we can go create. Or if you could choose to choose another partner, like this is how you can go create some audiences that will actually be very beneficial to you.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. For those who are unfamiliar, really to unlock the power of AMC, you need to be spending across both PPC and DSP. You need to have your instance set up, which can be a little bit of a hurdle for people. And then once you get it set up, you either, as mentioned, need to have the technical capabilities to write your own queries, which takes SQL knowledge, and a lot of people don't necessarily have that in house. Or you need to have the technical partner that's going to build those custom visualizations for you on a consistent basis, or an agency that's either doing it in house or working with a technical partner as well. And then once you have access to that, I think, in my opinion, the way to make AMC the most scalable is utilizing those repeatable instances, like you mentioned, the cart abandoners. What's the 80/20 here? AMC is unlimited potential. If anyone follows Jack Lindbergh on LinkedIn, I'm sure they know there's about, 70,000 different queries you can pull to solve all your problems. But most people don't even know how to set up their own AMC instance. So I really love the way that you all have chosen to view AMC and that, hey, for every single brand, let's pull this up. Let's figure out what, time to conversion is. Let's figure out what the, Amazon advertising overlap is. Another instance that we pulled was a proof of concept that, hey, when we ran sponsored brand ads, it actually improved the conversion rate of our sponsored product ads. Same thing with streaming TV. We've been able to justify that if when we start path to purchase with streaming TV and we're able to educate a customer off platform, our sponsored ads are more efficient because our conversion rate's higher because the customer is already educated. So a lot of those visualizations were things that we were able to pull directly from your platform and then immediately go activate on. And I think that's going to have to be the starting point for brands until they adopt, one, the in-house team and technical capabilities, and two, the knowledge to start building their own custom queries, even with a provider like you all. Now, on that note, I think that you have a few examples pulled up and maybe going to be able to do a quick demo of Pacview for us. Or if you have anything else to add, jump into that as well.
Yeah, sure. I'll be happy to go kind of show it. So let me go share my screen right here. Give me 1 second. Okay, perfect. So, this is our DSP tool. And so we actually have created custom queries that we believe that are very useful. Some of these are from the query templates that Amazon had provided, but we kind of added our own touch just to go see which are kind of the more accurate ones. And so, I can go through most of these, but I think maybe I would say like the top three that I always feel that, you know, a lot of customers have found useful is the sponsored ads, keyword searches, the cart abandoners, and the overall audience, right? And so we know that like in DSP currently, you can go and look at search-based audiences, but it's on an ASIN level. You input a list of ASINs, and if people are searching for them, you target those users. But that isn't really specific as what keyword audiences can be. So this allows you to kind of take keywords. And, the thing about AMC also I wanted to mention is it's not just about targeting. You can also go see who you don't want to target, right? There's also the fact is you want to get the best targeting for your clients, but what about your competitors? And this is why I'm very adamant to anyone just to go start going and activating your AMC instances, working with AMC, just because you want to get that edge that you don't want to lose to your competitors. And so, one way that I've seen people use this is to go target competitors. And so, previously you would go target your competitors based on on a retargeting list based on the ASIN level. And then, but this one you can actually searching for specific competitor terms. So let's say if you're looking for a specific type of pillow, it's a feather pillow, and you want to target people who are searching for your competitors' products. So you may be looking at something like memory foam pillows, right? This is kind of one way you can do this without inputting an ASIN list where it's like super tedious and you can go and just easily create it. And so most of our templates that you kind of have the same information that you have to input. You have your instance name, your AMS profile, and we actually have a tagging system that we kind of also organize a lot of our orders and line items by. But if you choose to do that, you can do that. Another thing that's kind of cool is I know in DSP audiences, you have your standard days, but for us, we can do custom days as well. So if you wanted to do something for a promotional period, this is kind of how you use this. And yeah, you just go add your audience name. And this one I'll kind of touch a little bit more about. That's our secret thing that we've been working on, but you can go update your audiences, whether it's daily or weekly. And then here you go add either your keyword tags or your keywords. And with that, you submit those information and we will start creating the audience. Yeah,
Well,
go ahead.
while you're diving into that, I kind of want to highlight the importance of really making sure we are expanding appropriately into DSP. So PPC is obviously amazing, but I think the flaw in only relying on PPC is that a customer already decided they're going to make a purchase. They went and they typed in chapstick or highlighter. Mentally, they're ready to go. And you are just serving them an ad right before they end up checking out. With DSP and with a tool like this, we're really able to zero in on the audience that is in that aisle and serve them an ad off platform as well, and to retarget and to make sure we are making them aware of who we are before they ever decide to make that search or before they ever complete the purchase. So it's really a strong efficiency play to make sure the whole funnel is optimized and more likely to convert. I think this is going to be an even stronger loyalty play, what you're about to dive into now.
Exactly. All those things you mentioned were true. We need to make sure that, when we're targeting, we get the, high purchase intenters. And this is kind of the other template that we find out that this is a great way to target audiences, right? And so just like the previous data sources, we include them, but these are audiences who've added products to the cart, but not purchased.
Real
Right?
fast, I have a quick question with this.
Yes.
You don't have to have been added to cart from a sponsored ad, correct? That's the value of AMC is it can pull anyone in. So it doesn't you could a customer could find your product through your organic listing and then add to cart and then abandon cart and they will still be pulled into this audience, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Ah, so much power.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, so, historically retargeting is going to be kind of, based on views and purchases. But, when you're segmenting it down, with cart abandoners, you're really getting that high intent rate, right? Like this is a great place to get more conversion. If we're targeting people who added to the cart in the last 14 days, but haven't made a purchase over the last 7, we can just go target these specific users. And then we're getting a segment of people who were considered buying, but ultimately walked away and are now considered this cart abandoned. You can really use this to effectively retarget for products with high average selling prices, where you paid for the customer to add the cart, but you really don't want to lose them, right? And so this is also really good with competitors because, if you have a list of competitor ASINs, you can also build a audience based off
It's insane.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
much power.
Exactly. That's kind of why AMC is so daunting for a lot of people. It's just there's so much you can do. It's like where do you even start, right?
It's insanely overwhelming. And I know on our end as an agency, this is some of the feedback I have given to Amazon is it's difficult to scale. It doesn't necessarily inherently add a ton of value up front. Like DSP you start spending on immediately. AMC it's just a clean room. It's how you use AMC that makes it valuable. And I think that's where there's a little bit of friction of, who needs to be owning this, who's going to
Mhm.
be smart enough to analyze the data. Where do you even start? And I think the way you've made it as actionable with something like this is immediately going to add value to your DSP within 10 minutes. And I
Ex-
and it's not complicated. Like I could hop in and do this without any no SQL capabilities.
exactly, right? Like that's the main thing. Like these kind of queries, like we know that it's very successful. A lot of people need them. Like, but why would you have to individually write these queries?
Yeah.
It, uh, I absolutely hate writing a SQL. Like anyone who's from a technical background knows, like if it works the first time, you're like wondering what did I do wrong? Like, so when you have like something easy like this, that I feel like it really gives that accessibility to everybody who would actually find value in. And I would say like the next one that I wanted to kind of talk about is probably the overlap audience. And so just like you said, this is really to go kind of see how all these combinations of different ads kind of lead to your conversions, how it really is like which kind of strategy is the most effective, right? And so we kind of have whether you want to have two different ads, three different types of ad types, you can either, sorry, you can go choose which ad type you would like. So, if you want to get it from your AMS profile, you can. If you want it through DSP, you can as well. So this is just that full customer journey coming in again, right? And so one thing is like you kind of would use this mostly to go kind of see frequencies, right?
Yep.
Like you want to see like, oh, this path is working, but this path isn't. If you see like, two sponsored ads and they're more likely to go convert, yeah, let's do it, right?
Yeah.
And and so, you can also kind of use this like just like I said, like, that you have two sponsored products, two sponsored brands, it's your most effective strategy, then let's go target people who see two sponsored products and one sponsored brand because
Yeah.
we know this is the most effective conversion metric that we have, right? I would say that, like, this is a little bit, I guess, tricky for some people to adopt, right? And that's because previously advertisers thought overlap is because you're wasting impressions on people who are already exposed to your ad, which means you're wasting spend.
Yep.
But, we're finding out in some cases from our customers that, overexposure is leading to more conversions. And if you're wasting spend, but you're getting more conversions, you're kind of evening it out, right? So these are some kind of ways to kind of think about this and hopefully, utilize in the
Yep.
future.
Frequency is an interesting one when you consider how non-disruptive Amazon is the majority of the time, especially in regards to search. Going back to what I mentioned earlier for a high price point product, it took 19 views of a sponsored product ad. That was our maximum conversion and sales combination. 19 views. Now, the good news is when it comes to a sponsored product ad, that could be, a top of search ad. And then it could also be on the product detail page. They're probably scrolling through a ton of competitors because in a high price point category, they want to make sure they're doing really good comparison shopping. But it's not disruptive. It's not like when you're on Facebook and you have an insane frequency setting and you see the same dang video over and over and it's a pain in the ass experience. We
Exactly.
don't have to worry about that near as much. Now, if you're doing some insane off platform retargeting, yes. But like you said, with this, I think there's this mentality that brands that are native to Amazon have maybe gotten away from, right? Anyone who's worked in traditional marketing, traditional media knows that frequency matters and knows that subconsciously more exposure is going to lead to higher conversions. Brands on Amazon, I think, have been so used to just instantaneous checkout that they maybe forget about those aspects. So that's why it's harder to sell sponsored brands or sponsored brands video or creative utilization, right? So being able to have this data and back into it is fantastic. It's maybe hard to activate it on at times, like you said, what is your timing then? How do you, layer in all these different approaches? But it's really, really strong insights that can be applied across the industry.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that, it's just a way of changing how you're thinking. I think that AMC should be kind of not looked as like, this is what you need to do. It's more of like a holistic way of thinking, what can I actually do to kind of really give value to the business by retargeting customers like this.
Yep.
So I think that, we'll find out that a lot of things that in the advertising industry that, you grew up learning, it may not be applicable now that you're actually seeing more metrics, more data behind it. And so just go in with an open mind. And I think that that's how you really fully utilize AMC.
100%. I think Amazon's new favorite thing is you start with your hypothesis. And I'm like, just give me a query. Like, I need a custom template right now. I can't, there's too many variables for me to even consider diving into until I have a grasp on this.
Exactly. I mean, it's daunting. You have this much data. It's where do I start? What can I actually do to get value from this?
Okay.
And this is why I'm hoping that at least with these query templates, you get like a starting point, and then
Yes.
hopefully start getting more creative and starting finding out different things that you can go actually get more return on ad spend from.
Yep. 100%.
And so I think if you want, we could go through all this, or we could also go through audience expansion. It's what up to you. No matter, I don't know what the timing is, but
Let's dive into audience expansion. Everything else, I mean, you guys have fantastic naming here, which makes it pretty understandable on what can be accomplished. But I definitely wanted to hop into some of the new opportunities that you all have rolled out.
oh, for sure. And so this is a kind of a feature that we've been working on really closely within our team, and it's audience expansion. And so I've kind of mentioned, all these different audiences you can create, right? But there is a problem that comes. It's hey, I found the perfect audience. How can I go create more audiences that are similar to that? This is like my gold standard. This is the type of audience that I want for my campaigns. How can I go and expand on that? Right. And so that's when audience expansion is coming. And so we're currently working on developing a way that, you know, just by inputting a seed audience, we can find related audiences that are showing great promise for the audiences that have been created. Right. And so there's two different templates that we're kind of been working on. One was the purchasers, and essentially, same deal with like what you need to input, but what you have this time is just give us a great seed audience, and we'll do the work from there. And then we will go and see what are the like the best audiences from our analysis that you can go use. And, this is still rough draft. And so you can kind of expect things to change a little bit, but the overall value is still going to be the same, which is, you know, audiences who are make similar purchases, right? That's a very big one that we find out there's a lot of value that brands and advertisers can equally utilize. And for the other one is who are your viewers that are doing your subscribe and save. And, this is also I want to kind of point out is AMC kind of audience differentiator from DSP, right? Because you get subscribe and save. Like these are real, like impactful metrics that brands can use to get to the next level as well.
So, one, obviously a ton of opportunity here. Two, what's is this based off shopper history, demographic data? Obviously, there's a ton of complex variables there that you all have built out to model this.
Uh-huh.
But what are some of the insights that go into building an audience like this?
Well, I can't say too much just because it's
No
still
secret sauce given.
not no secret sauce. I unfortunately cannot get this, but there are algorithms in place that we have looked within a shopper's history to go
Okay.
this. You will, I'm pretty sure in the next couple of weeks, you might find out more about how I'm doing this, but until then, that's probably all I can go tell you about that, right?
That's fantastic, and that's kind of what I was curious about because I think guys obviously a hot topic in the space, and Amazon potentially slowly transitioning from being maybe a query based model to maybe more a demographic based or shopper history based. So that way, there's a lot more personalization and customization. And I think that's where I really see you all incorporating a lot of these assets to make your DSP a little bit more aligned with that. So that way you're not necessarily, again, waiting on that search. You're really starting to build in the demographic data, whether it's when they look at super greens and then pre-workout and then this, they're more likely to purchase this. I think those type of insights are going to unlock insane potential because you can only put so many sponsored ads on page one. Amazon's going to need to differentiate advertising inventory in order to continue expanding their media. And I think that's going to be a good way to do it. But you all are giving everyone the opportunity to do that way ahead of the curve.
Exactly. Yeah. We're just kind of finding out different ways that we think that customers will get value. And, this is kind of just what is the most easiest way to get people to finally use this tool. And like, that's kind of been our mantra, right? Want people to use this tool. I don't know why, I guess I understand, the technical aspect, but, for cost wise, these are easy to create. Like these are free, right? Like
Yeah.
you really like try and, if you have it, you spend DSP spend, get it, right? Like
Yes.
go see the value in this, experiment. You're going to see so much better results.
I don't know if you have anything that can be pulled up. So if not, just we'll skirt past that. Do you have any of the just visualizations on your kind of general AMC queries?
Yeah, sure. We have it in our AMC report function. Let me go and see if I can pull this up.
I know from the agency perspective, when we're looking at some of the more consistent things that we want to take a look at, this is ad type overlaps, absolutely one of my favorite assets. I don't think people realize the conversion rate difference in running all of your ad types together. And these are the visualizations our team utilizes pretty consistently. We do a lot of your audience queries on the DSP side, but this is what allows us to really, go to our brands and say, hey, this is why we should be spending on DSP. This is that middle of the funnel piece that I think has been missing to say it's not just awareness, it's not just impressions. This is how the bottom of the funnels influence. So this is one of my favorite visualizations you all have.
Oh, for sure. Like I think that it's so easy to kind of read and like really could drive the value from this, right? I have a lot of customers kind of speak really highly of this. And, it's, like I said, like it's so easy to go see like this is the path that, with the overlap for ads that is giving you the most conversions, like
Okay.
which are kind of adding your new to brand, these are kind of the things that really would give an impact.
I'm just taking it all in.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, do you have anything else that you kind of want to showcase or that you think would add some value?
I think that I am good on my end.
All right.
My only thing is please start activating your
Yes.
business, get with your partners, explore. It is a little bit daunting, but try it anyways. You'll find out there's a reward at the end of this, right? So
Yes.
might as well try it.
100%. Kind of as we've mentioned, it's not like DSP where you need an investment in order to access it. AMC is truly just a place to store all of your data. So if you reach out, get that instance set up because you can't retroactively add your historical data. You need it set up in order to start pulling all future opportunities, especially with Black Friday, Cyber Monday, New Year, New You, all the tentpole events coming up. You want to get that instance set up. And then once you have it, that's when you can start really diving in. Again, as a brand, unless you have the internal technical capabilities, you're not going to be able to hop in and just easily get any insights from it. But when you have the right partners, you can start diving into all of this data that will make your PPC and DSP more efficient, more profitable, and or more aligned with your long-term goals in terms of incrementality, in terms of loyalty, subscribe and save, abandoners, all of those things. can really come together. We've never had access to that data before. And now we have access to all of the data. So there was no middle ground. Amazon should have like, there's a little spoon fed some of this out to us.
Exactly, right?
Well, this has been fantastic. I cannot thank you enough, cannot thank the Pacview enough for letting you come on and showcase everything. If you want to reach out to Nick and the Pacview team, where should everyone do that?
You can go contact me on my LinkedIn. And thank you so much, Destiny. It was a pleasure talking to you. I really enjoyed it. And if anybody else has any questions, please reach out to me or the rest of the pack.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much and have a wonderful rest of your weekend. See ya.